one question for you. Are you ready?
Hey, everybody out there. We have
Yo.
amazing night ahead of us. One of our really good friends has just released a new album, and we are here on the day that it was that has gone live on Spotify and Apple Music. And I am absolutely excited to be able to be with you tonight, Dusty. What's going on, buddy?
Good, man. How are you? Thank you for the kind words. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, what a good time. I've listened to, I mean, some of these songs we kind of heard some of them, but
Yeah, a good amount of them are already out there. But
yeah,
yeah,
but this album is super good, and I love the way you I love the layout of the format of the actual album. I absolutely love. I love the beginning. The intro is just so good. It just like gets you ready. I love
thanks,
it.
man. Yeah,
And
that was
then
a
you
fun
have
one to
all of
put
those.
together.
Yeah. So I'm just really excited to have you on and be able to discuss your new album. And it's called, go ahead.
The Vulture and the Fox.
Love it. Now, why the Vulture and the Fox? I think we've talked a little bit about this, but I would love for everyone else to know what that is for you. What does that mean for you, signify?
It was honestly, give me 1 second. I'm going to post on my Instagram that we're live right now, if that's okay.
Oh, do it. Go ahead. The more the merrier. I love it. Yeah, I'm so excited. I will tell you this, that the artwork is outstanding on this album. And
Jonah Nimoy.
Yeah, beautiful.
He was the one that did there we go. Okay. Yeah, that was my good friend Jonah, who actually also played drums and co-wrote Bandit and Burn Me. He's a very, very talented dude. He currently plays guitar in The Offspring. One of my best buddies and one of the most talented people I've ever known. He's really rad. But he did the majority, almost all the singles. He did the artwork for. But the meaning, Vulture and the Fox. So when I was in Joshua Tree in 2017 for a buddy's wedding, my friend was doing she was doing tarot card readings, and they were the spirit animals. And the two that were pulled for me was the vulture. One was a vulture, and one was a fox. And like she read off the meaning, and it was just like the vulture very misunderstood, and like did a lot more good cleaned up all the mess, this, that, and the other. And like the fox was like this kind of business savvy, like, just kind of hid under the radar and did like, underappreciated as well. And from what I was going through in that time of my life, it like literally when she read out what they meant, she threw the book, because we were all just like, whoa. It was one of those moments where it's like, I know a lot of those things. I don't get super, it's not super into spirituality and all that stuff, but it's like, it was for that, what was going on in my life at that point in time, it could not have been more accurate. So, and that's a lot of the album is about a lot of things that had happened in that vein, in that realm of like, what those things were kind of touching base on. So yeah,
I love it. Right on. That's really cool. That's really cool. And you know what? This is the funny thing about it.
James.
Is he like, hey,
just
going on, Mr.
He's
James?
He's on to something. He's on to something here in the chat.
I love it. And he has a very excellent brother-in-law. He really does. He's very good looking, and is
Just a great family all around.
great guy all the way around. James, for anybody who doesn't know, is my brother-in-law. So he's a really good guy. I've been really honored to have him as a brother-in-law. So but what's really cool is let's talk a little food here while we're waiting for James. I'm gonna say that I was prepared, but we had so many kids and family come over the last couple weeks that we were just like so deserted out, but we had so much leftover dessert. So I took I always go with leftover Halloween, leftover other things. It is leftover Christmas cookies. That is what Andy has brought to the table. I don't know. These stupid little they're sugar cookie kind of.
Yeah.
And I can eat like 10 or 20 of those.
They're so soft.
They are, and they just like melt in your mouth.
Yeah.
And
You don't even have to chew them.
I know. So I've been just eating them. Did Dusty bring anything today?
I did. So
awesome.
I was telling your wonderful sister yesterday, and we were talking that one of my, New Year's resolutions or whatever was to kind of take it easy on the sugar, because I got a mega sweet tooth. And for Christmas, my boss gave me this like 5-pound tin of shortbread cookies, which are some of my favorites. I mean, and it's like, there's like 1,000 of them in there. That's just one of the 2, maybe even 3 layers down there.
I know, those are so good.
They're so good. And sometimes I dip them in Nutella because I'm a sugar addict.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that.
I am okay. I am a sugar addict. I love it. I love my desserts. And you know what, though? We have to have fun. And that's the thing and there are some healthy alternatives to food, to different desserts. There are. I really tried to lose a little bit of weight before the Christmas season because I knew I would gain a little bit. So I was okay, kind of balanced out a little bit. These sugar cookies are the last of the Christmas stuff, like desserts and things. So then we're strictly on diets.
Gotcha.
And Christy has found the Eat Like a Bear diet. And I don't know what it is.
I don't know if I'm familiar with that one.
Me neither. So I told her that maybe I'm going to eat some grubs and some fruit, some like berries and some salmon with my mouth. Just catch them. Right. That's what I said. They eat anything.
Yeah. Eat like a bear. Just go through some garbage cans and good.
I know that's what I said. I said, I don't know what that is. And she's like, and then she like just wouldn't tell me because she's like, now you're making fun of it. I'm like, okay, well, whatever it is, we will be on it together.
Yeah. Cool.
And we'll eat like a bear. So
it sounds like a fun diet for sure.
Yeah, maybe if I was a bear that can't catch anything, like if I was like hey, he went to the stream and he's just a stupid bear who just can't seem to catch the salmon. Maybe that's what it is. Like you get like the tidbits of salmon left over after the salmon.
Right.
So anyway, man, I am so excited to have you on and talk about this album. You have such a knack for coming up with different sounds within every song. I felt, and even within the songs, there was different vibes. I'm absolutely, this was, and I'll take you through this. The intro to is just really great. It has some really it kind of develops and then rolls into the next song.
Mm-hmm.
Which I absolutely loved. You can tell that I've been listening to it all day.
Awesome.
So the intro is called "On with the Wild," which has some I'll the ride, yeah, I just saw
Yeah.
it. I'm blind.
It's all right.
But what I felt was that spoken word part was really, really good, kind of a really good intro, kind of a narrative of what this
Yeah.
album was gonna be in there for, and it had different parts of it that kind of led up to a heavier section with some really rockin' guitar.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so that's it's kind of the that part of the record, or that song's almost like the it's supposed to be like the prologue or whatever, kind of setting up
Mhm.
for what's getting ready to happen. And all this is going to be still working on it. It's just, it takes time. It's crazy how much more time it takes um to get the illustration and animation done proper than it does to write the songs and the music. So animators and illustrators here, we are not worthy of your artistic talents, us musicians. It's insane. Like, so, but anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But that's kind of what, yeah, that's On With the Ride is essentially is from what that was, or that was inspired by when me and my band moved out to California. So that's kind of all the, so all those there's little things here and there that we're just kind of, talking about that.
Yeah, and that's what I really like that because your storytelling is really, really good. And there's several
Thank you.
sections of this album that I felt that was really, I mean, it had a lot of really great lyrics and storytelling. I like the spoken word on that one specifically, just because you don't hear that all the time in every song. And I just like the way that it grabbed you and then moved to different, like it really started off really kind of with that acoustic sound and then moved into
Oh,
something. I
I
love that.
lost. Oh, you froze.
Did I
Oh,
freeze?
there we are. There we are. And then you said it grabs you, and then
And then
you
and then it
froze.
moves into that next song, and it's
Uh,
just
oh,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so and then I really take a look at so you said Bandit was also kind of guitar-wise was helped with your guitarist friend.
Bandit and Burn Me were those were written by me, Jonah, who did the artwork, and then two other guys, Jason Espiritu and Brian Duke, who they're in a band called Wavy Trees, who's the really, really cool California band. And we wrote those songs together in 2017, also for a side project we were doing. And then Jonah got picked up in the Offspring and became a big rock star. So, and then and then I moved home. No, I'm kidding. But it just, we all had other things, other projects going on that were, kind of led us away from the side project more. We only played I think we only did one show. But anyways, those songs, I had them, and they were like, they in a way fit very much fit what I wanted to do with the album. So I was like, oh, I'm going to use them if you guys don't mind. If somebody might as well do something with them. And those are two of my favorite songs, and I think they kick ass, but also I love they have a lot of a strong sentimental value because I really enjoyed writing with those guys. They're some of my best friends. So
No, I
it was a
love
good
that.
time.
I love that, and I really like Bandit because it had, like, a punk feel to it. It had that
Yeah.
really yeah, I just love that punk drive with it that just made me like, "This is punk rock. This is it right here," and I loved it.
Yeah.
And then I think that yeah, I can definitely tell the influence at the time by both those songs. And then I think that "Throw It All Away" had a little Lenny Kravitz sound to it.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what I was going for. Nice. Yeah, Lenny Kravitz and like kind of a Gary Clark Jr. with guitar tones, like real fuzzy, but then
Yeah.
like, yeah, that I'm a big Lenny fan. So that was, you nailed it
Yeah,
there,
I love
Andy.
it. Yeah, really awesome job. And then
Thanks, man.
one of my other songs, and I'm gonna say that I think it had a little Jimmy in it,
Mm.
was, "No One Else."
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the that's my bow, my nod to Hendo. He's one of my favorites. I don't know if I've ever showed you my Jimmy tattoo, but he's
Oh.
my guy.
Yeah, that's
He's
awesome.
he was my first hero for sure. So
For sure, for sure. And
yeah.
I was like, I tell that's like, oh my goodness, I know that progression, and I'm like, I know that fuzz, I know that distortion. And then when
Yeah.
you played it and it hit that, because he's so bluesy. So
Yeah.
Jimmy was just, and that's what got me into the blues was Jimmy, because he was that introduction to blues music that you were like, this is rock, but then you realize that the underlying, and you also hear a lot of his other songs like Hey Joe, there's so much blues coming out of it.
For sure.
And you're just like, yes. And then you start getting into different blues, ZZ Top was another, of course, another
Oh
really
yeah.
bluesy. But I will tell you that that's what I really liked about your album, is that I heard some country in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear that country blues, and then I almost hear the Black Crowes. Like, when I was thinking about Find Me,
Yeah.
I was like, Black Crowes, south, it's that Southern rock blues vibe that the Counting Crow or the Black Crowes had.
Yeah. That's that for sure. That was my Black Crowes song of the record. That's
Yeah, beautiful.
3 for 3. Oh yeah,
I knew
man.
what he was thinking. I was
That's
in
all,
your, I was in
I
your head.
love that. I love that you've actually like caught my influences in the record, which is really cool.
Yeah, I really try to, when I'm now listening. Now that I'm really into, so this is the funny thing. So Dusty caught us early on in the priming of our show,
Mm.
and I wasn't really playing as much guitar back then. I was just like, oh yeah, guitar's fun. I play a little bit. Now I've added, 4 or 5 new guitars to my collection, and new amps and modelers, and way too much money. I don't even want to talk about it. This will be used for incrimination later down the road by certain other people. But um, but I will tell you that that's what really struck me, was the music that we're doing just inspired me to start playing music again. And it was
Awesome.
because of the musicians we were interviewing, like yourself, that are just playing amazing. And what I saw from this was, anybody can play blues riffs, but it's with some of the things that you were adding, those little add nines, add sevens, some of the
Mhm.
little bluesy riffs that you were adding, slides and things that people don't always pick up, that you can sit and say, okay, that's a C, this is that progression. But what you're also adding is a couple other notes in there
You're
to
right.
make it a little bit more bluesy, give it a little bit more, sound, depending on what song, a little bit more twang. I love your acoustic songs.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, this is the thing that you've inspired me to go get a Taylor down the road. I still
Oh
haven't got
yeah.
it yet, and I've actually played between a Martin and a Taylor. I've actually become a Taylor guy by going down to Guitar Center and just like jamming on their Taylors forever, just because the fretboard feels better for me. I don't know what it is. I feel like the Martins are a little bit more sticky, like just
Yeah.
the yeah.
It's yeah, and it all I guess depends on. There's so many different models they have of each of those. Both of those companies have I I don't know even know dozens and dozens of models. James would know better.
He would
But
indeed.
Taylors are great. Taylors, that's whenever anybody asks me like best bang for your buck, like good guitar to last that you can just have forever, it's a Taylor. Like I love Martins, but it's like they have you know, uh, as far as like their lower end stuff, you're paying too much money, I think, for when you can pay $500 and get a really good Taylor. If you
Right.
pay $500 for a Martin, you're paying for the name, and unless you get a really good deal on a used one, which that happens. But like, yeah, as far as getting a good quality guitar for $400 or $500, I think Taylors are the way to go. And there's other little companies that. It's a crazy thing too. I was having this conversation the other day about guitars. Like, you can get even some of the like the $200 Epiphones or Fenders nowadays are good acoustic guitars. Like or Yamaha. Like I picked up this little, like, it was like a 3/4 size Yamaha, like a travel guitar the other day, or like a travel / like beginner guitar, and it played and sounded great. and I almost walked out with it. It was like 120, 130 bucks. And it's like, that's, you know what I mean? Like that's an expensive night out for a
Yeah,
cool new instrument, you know?
I agree with you. My stepson got a classic,
Cool.
and he got a Yamaha, and that thing sounded really, really good. He got it for $200, and
Nice.
it sounded super good. Yamaha's not a bad brand, and
They're
I don't
not,
think.
man. They really actually make good quality guitars. I haven't dug too much in the electrics, but I have several friends, especially one, my good friend Omar, and he was the first person I think that like had one that I was like, man, this thing sounds and plays really great, you know. But but now it's a lot easy. It's a lot easier to find a really good guitar for a very affordable price nowadays. Once upon a time, it really wasn't.
Yeah, I agree. Now, bringing us back to the white guitar that I saw you playing today. So what
Zavola.
Vola? Let's hit this up. Let's talk about this guitar. What do you think
Yeah,
of it?
man. It is a special machine. So it's a semi hollow body, and it's got a roasted um rosewood neck. Like it's not just the fretboard, it's the whole neck is rosewood, which is a unique thing that like actually the first person I ever saw use one. I don't know if you've watched and this I saw it before this. Have you seen the Beatles documentary Get Back? Have you watched that
Yes.
yet?
Yep, I have.
So he had it in a few. George Harrison had it in a few of the shots. He had his Telecaster with the full rosewood neck. But anyways, yeah. So this thing, yeah, this local music shop that I used to work at, Mom's Music, they hooked me up with this guy, and because I'd go in there and geek out over their new guitars and stuff, and but so this, yeah, it's got two humbuckers, the bridge and neck, and then a single coil in the middle, and it has a coil switch too, so each of the humbuckers can become single coil, and actually it kind of, I don't know, I'm not too familiar with coil tap switches, but it also kind of acts as a boost, which I love. Because it can just, if you go from if you're in the single coil world or whatever, with the single coil switch on, you click it, it gives you a little more volume, which I like, more volume. But they're great. It's got locking tuners on the back too. It's a really amazing guitar, and like it plays so good, and it sounds great, and it's like it stays in tune really well, and it's got a lot of different tone options. So, and I love the color too, because I don't know if you can really tell, but it's a matte white. It's not like glossy, which is
nice.
cool, But and this, I can't remember the guy's name. It's KJ. If they call it the KJ, the Vola KJ, that's his initials. He's this ripping jazz fusion guitar player. I'll put his name in the comments or something. We'll tag him in the post. But that's his signature guitar. But they got all kinds of stuff, man. They got stuff that's like real, that can be used like for jazz, metal, country, rock. Like they got, they have this is clearly more kind of like a telly body, kind of has like a morphed telly body, but they have some that are just solid without the semi-hollow body, and single coil, real twangy, clacky kind of single coil tone and whatnot. But then they got some that are just real beefy, almost like Jackson or Gibson kind of, style
Rock.
tones. But yeah, rock. Yeah, they're great. Highly recommend them. I can't remember how long it's been that they've been making guitars or they've been around, but I just found out about them less than a year ago, because I think Mom's Music is the only place in Kentucky that they're the only certified Kentucky dealer, or only certified Vola dealer, I believe. But great guitars. I highly recommend checking them out if you ever see one, because it's just kind of, a lot of times when you see a new guitar company, you're just like, at least that's how I was. That's how I was for a while. It's like, oh, okay, where's your Gibsons and Fenders and your PRSs or your Gretches or whatever. But now it's like, once again, with people having access to proper machinery and training and whatnot, there's a lot more guitar builders and stuff out there where it's just, you never know. So pick them all up, play them all, man. Play every guitar you see forever.
That's right. Well, that's what. So I've been. Chaos Guitars is a really good friend of mine, Dave. He
Oh,
came on
okay.
the show. So Chaos Guitars is making my next is modifying my Epiphone. I actually bought
Okay.
an Epiphone from my friend Ken and said, "Hey," he said, "I don't ever play this thing." And I said, "Hey, do you mind if I buy it off of you?" And he sold it to me for a fairly good price. I sent it straight to him and said, "I don't even want to touch it. I just want you to do your thing to it." And man, he's almost done and it looks
Cool.
beautiful.
I can't
Yeah,
wait to see it, man.
it's a really it's like a Les Paul and just looks amazing. So I cannot wait to be able to play it. But that's the thing about it is there's all these new guitar makers and then there's even build it yourself guitar places that you can just
Yeah.
buy the parts and put them together. I don't know how comfortable I feel after watching my friend Dave build my guitar for me. I'm like, I would leave it to him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my next door neighbor, this was a really cool moment I had when I moved into this house with my brother a couple years ago. I was walking in, me and my mom were walking all my guitars and we, made a couple trips and uh this lady next door was like, "I assume you're a guitar player." And I was like, "Yeah, how'd you guess?" And she's like, so funny. My husband's a guitar luthier. And so I was like, "Well, that's convenient. My neighbor builds guitars." Like, so there's been several times that I've had issues and I just walk right next door and, drop it off for a day or two and he fixes right up. But he doesn't just, he's not a tech. He actually builds them like from scratch. His name's Walter Lay. And they're very, very, very beautiful. Like, I can't even like think of how to describe like an analogy, like as far as like a boutique, like just a very classic and but he puts some things in there like he has some of his tricks that he showed me that I won't tell because he'd asked me not to, like some things that he does that are different and but they're just great sounding, great looking and great playing guitars. And it's really cool going over there and like seeing, they'll be like, come check out the body on this one that I'm making. It'll just be this body that he just, he hand just very finely cut these little pieces for the sound hole for the design and like all this detail. I'm just like, it just takes so much time and patience and precision. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. I would love one day to build a guitar, but it's to what he does. Like he's like a master builder, which I don't. That's a different
Yeah.
breed.
Yeah, that's what Dave has his own set of guitars that he makes, and then he does this other custom shop stuff. And like he'll go and fix that's because that's what he did. He started off getting guitars and then amping, getting cheap guitars when he was a kid, and
Right.
then doing the work to be able to create a better guitar.
Okay.
So now he makes his own, and it's exactly like what you're saying. You're like the things that he does. There's little secrets that he does that you're just like, no way am I gonna ever. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll pay a guy I'll ship my guitars across the pot over there and try to
Yeah.
get things done. So across the
Hey,
states and
is that a silver jubilee you got back there? That Marshall head? Is that a silver jubilee?
so you know what it is? It's a keychain holder.
Oh my God.
I mounted my
I
keychain.
was like, oh, of course. I'm seeing now where the hats are. Like my depth perception is completely off. That would be like another 5 feet behind those hats. That's cool though. I didn't know. I've seen those, but I haven't seen the silver jubilee one. That's
I
what it is
know.
though, right? It's the gray.
That's the gray
Cool.
one. Yep. That's
Cool.
exactly why I bought it. I thought, well, if I can't afford it, I'm gonna buy the mock of it.
And you're a Slash fan. That was the Slash amp for a long time. Actually, he
It
might still
is.
use a couple of them, but I know that was
That was
thing
his
for a while.
original. Yep,
Yeah.
that was. And that's so I am I'm a big Slash fan. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing. So I when I got this Line 6, I had I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to save up for a new Marshall. I'll go get the Jubilee.
Cool.
And I thought that's what I was going to do. Now I got this I'm in hog heaven with this Line 6 Spider.
It's got
And
so many different options on it, man. Like,
I know it's crazy good.
yeah,
and
I
it's
get it.
loud. Well, when I
Yeah.
talked, so I bought it and I said, I talked to the gentleman. I was like, I want to be able to eventually, I'm not there yet, but be able to go play live shows,
Mhm.
do something with a jam session with some friends, or go to there's a one of those guitar nights at one of the local music stores where they just get a
Cool.
bunch of guys and jam together. And I would love to just be able to just, even if I'm just the rhythm guy, I would love to just be learning, just
Right.
learning guitar, learning from them how to do better leads, and things like that, so that it goes along with kind of my music journey, kind of fun.
Yeah, totally, man.
So let's get back to this album. I don't know where James went. He's having computer issues, unfortunately. So
Dang. I was looking forward to
yeah,
seeing him.
yeah, me too. I'm bummed because his beard is looking beautiful as always. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah,
I saw him today. We had a meeting today with Nicole in our group, and so we were just like, I'm just like, there's no way that you can compete with the guy. The guy just has great genetics.
yeah, he definitely does.
So I'm gonna say that Ready was your anthem
Mhm.
rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Ready. I was like, this is the type of like workout song that you're about ready to get up in the morning. You're about ready to, you're taking on the day, and Ready was just hits you. It's just
Yeah.
ready to go. I love it.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And then, the good thing about it is that I think if you sprinkled in enough really great acoustic, I love the Red, and I also
Mm,
love Words Don't Mean Much.
yeah.
Those two resonate with me because those are, and I would love to hear some stories. And he disappeared, so it's just me now, all by myself, talking to myself. With This is the story of oh, and there he goes. Okay, he's back.
I don't know what happened. It just all of a
That was
sudden,
weird. It's the internet.
these
It's the internet.
interwebs, man. Did
These
everybody else get kicked off too?
I don't know. We I think we're slowly building our following on the new channel. We had a little bit. It's been an interesting. We switched over to Tasty Licks Music, and we're still now trying to get people back, but we're trying to get music people back,
Mm,
and not so much the beard community. Not that we don't like beard community folks. We love them, but at the same time, we're not beard community. I'm not doing beard content anymore.
right.
So
Gotcha.
I really want to follow with that passion of being able to get music out there and inspire others. And that's what talking to, folks like yourself who are making new, amazing albums and so creative. And this is the one thing that I want. It goes even every bit of this album is creative. Every bit of it. There's the
Thank you.
artwork that goes into it, and then there is the art of the music and the lyrics, and I know how hard it is to put some of these guitars, some of these pieces behind the scene plus the lyrics together. But the lyrics, and there's a couple songs where I'm like, that lyric matched beautifully, or you sang it beautifully with your guitar, that I don't think you could have done it any better. There was a
Oh, thank
couple of
you,
those
man.
moments where I was just like, yeah, that's I just absolutely amazing. How did you what studio did you go to be able to produce this one?
Most of it was done at Sundog Recording Studio in Nashville. It's
Oh,
over
cool.
in East Nashville off Trinity Lane. Michael Esser is the producer and engineer, and mixed and mastered most of it as well. Some other people worked on it, like obviously when we were those songs that were written and recorded in LA, those were done at our buddy Jason's studio, and Jason Mazilis, who actually also knows Nicole. But oh yeah, and he was in a band with Harry too. You guys just not was it a few months
Harry
ago? You
Muff.
guys did Harry Muffs.
Harry.
Yeah, he was in a band with which is Harry. That's how I met your sister, was because Harry introduced me to Nicole. Full circle, but
That's awesome.
um so yeah, and then but the majority of it was all done at Sundog Recording Studios in Nashville.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
And
great
they did a
place.
great. Yeah, I was gonna say they did a great job of mastering this one, and
Well,
I think
and just real quick, I want to say before I forget, he didn't only produce, engineer, and mix and master most of it, but he also played drums on almost every song. Other than 2 songs, he also played drums on all of them. He's a very talented dude, Michael Esser. I call him
great.
I call him Professor Esser.
That's awesome. I think he's coming in. Is he coming in? I see a big white screen, and there is the man himself.
Hey, welcome to the party, bro. What's up, dude?
Good Lord.
You
I hate
figured it
internet
out. I was just telling Andy I gotta go, so it was good seeing you for a couple seconds.
He's just kidding.
Psych.
Oh,
Just
and
kidding.
he's
No.
yeah. We got a few minutes. We got a few minutes
Oh,
left.
dude,
and I'm gonna
I got all the time in the world. Like I'm totally kidding.
right on, man.
I got nothing but time, man.
James, it's good to see you, my friend. What is going on, man? Other than computer issues.
Oh my God. What's up?
What's going on, man?
computer
Good to
issues.
see you. It's good to see you. Yeah. But
Oh,
happy
just
New
internet. It wasn't
Year
even
to
computer.
my-
It was just internet. It was the actual internet provider.
Oh
no, it's even worse. It's like, do you think? Well, you're in
Yeah.
Tampa. Do they have any storms going on? No.
Bradenton.
Ruh-roh.
I think he said. So I heard that there was some snow happening in Nashville and up in Kentucky today.
Yeah. It's not proper weather for my little Nissan Cube. Definitely,
Yeah.
like it's funny. I got this car just over 10 years ago when I was living in Los Angeles, and it's like the greatest little car, like great gas mileage, super tiny, but it can fit like all of my gear and then some. But it's front wheel drive, and it's not at all a snow vehicle, which most aren't, right? Most, like, especially compact cars, but mine especially is it's fun to drive in the snow, but it's not definitely got to be more careful with it than any other car I've owned. So
Yeah, right on.
yeah.
James, are you back? Are you living La Vida Loca here?
I think so. If you'll hear me.
Right on, man. I can hear you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let James talk a little bit here and talk about your album. So go ahead, James.
Come on with it.
If he can hear me.
Well, what was dessert? I missed dessert.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So so let's go dessert really quick. So he had the best dessert. Go ahead, Dusty. Throw off.
Am I still out?
What now?
It's a really bad game of CB radio right now. Poor guy. I think he's saying something. James,
are you with us?
I'm going to do pictures. The dessert was this
cookie. Oh, desserts. Yeah. Christmas
cookie.
cookies and shortbread cookies. There's a theme. Oh, and we've lost him. Damn it. Shoot.
I know we were already there. You know what's so sad is that James is really trying. He got internet speed up, and then he realized it was just his old computer, and now he's working on the computer part. So I think it's just so interesting how quickly the computer has become an issue, and it's just the way old computers are. I've been around them all of my life, so it's a bummer, and it's so frustrating because then you're like, I got to go buy a new computer, which are now, like, well, they're not that bad. They're $600-700 will buy you a decent computer. So, yeah. But I'm going to, since he's unfortunately left again.
I wonder if he can try with his phone.
That's
Could he
what I
get
told
on
him
with us?
earlier. I
Okay.
told him earlier, so I'll tell him again just to get him on
Cool.
because
Yeah.
he always has great questions
Yeah.
and yeah.
What were you
I
talking
mean,
about before you came in?
I don't know, and I was just now I'm telling you,
Oh,
I'm chanting phone at him.
just you chanting at him. Phone. Yeah, we were talking about the studio.
Yeah.
That's yeah, it was cool. Like, you know, one of my favorite things about working, well, just whenever when you get into a studio, but especially with working with Esser, who's like not just a great producer but also engineer, knows how to get like a proper sound or tone for whatever. Like when I was like, I would tell him what I think it would sonically sound like, and then he would, you know, give me his input too. But when somebody else has other ideas that I didn't really think of, you know, like when like in Words Don't Mean Much, he's the one that thought of having the dobro slide guitar, which was a guy named Audley Freed who's played with, he's one of those guys, he's Jimmy Page, the Black Crowes, Sheryl Crow. Like he is a monster when it comes to anything with six strings. And so it was really cool having him play on it, because that he's played with literally like the best players in the world. He is one of the best players in the world, but
Right.
but that's one of my favorite things is, you know, and that's I think another good a sign of a great producer is somebody that's, boom, this is what should go here. Not just make it sound good, but can also can bring another ear to the table of, and so, or know that nothing else needs to be added or things should be taken away from it and made more simple. And like and Mike Esser he's really great at that. He's fun to work with.
And that's the one thing that I will say that I've always thought that would be really cool, which is why I wanted to go start playing with other people. Was I've played, you
I
can
think
play
that's a
by
great
yourself.
idea, by the way.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But the other thing is getting other people and their styles together with you to be able to create music that will last forever. I mean, this digital world that we live in, this stuff will be around for the next 1,000, 2,000 years. And this is what people will think about this time period is
Yeah.
this type of music. And people will look at this as influential and things that, just like we did with classical music, they'll be like, hey, remember when they played guitars like that, or whatever it is that they do,
Yeah.
200, 300 years from now. And that's what I love is that we have the ability to get great musicians to be able to create that artistry. And session players, like you said, I mean, there are so many amazing session players that can just step in and just play amazing, and nobody really knows who they are.
Yeah, it's so wild. I'm gonna grab a cookie. It's so wild that like that's how the cookie crumbles. When like they are legitimately some of the best in anything. It's not just players, singers, like but any instrument really, like they are some of the best in the world and nobody knows who they are. And they're the reason that a lot of the majority of the records for the last 50, 60 years sound as good as they do, is because they're like the Top Gun musicians. Damn it. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
It's StreamYard.
There we go.
It's everybody. Yeah, it's everybody. This is what happens with StreamYard when it starts dying.
Come on,
That's crazy.
StreamYard.
Come on, get your servers together.
Nicole, oh no.
It's the weather, man. I'll tell you, their servers are. This is the fun thing about having a sister in the industry, is that we get to talk so much more music these days. And growing up, we didn't do any of that. We didn't know any musicians. We didn't know anybody. So we just, now we can just, she's involved with so much amazing music that I'm just like, yeah, I know so-and-so. And we talk about Dusty and we're just like, hey, his new album, that's so awesome. And it's so fun to be able to have those discussions with her about music and being able to get amazing artists on here, which is, blows my mind who we have on here.
Yeah, it's cool.
So so with this album, what is it that you feel that you want to let people know about it?
You mean like, what do I want people to get out of it? Or
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever anybody can take from it. Like, I think, I would really like people to, more than anything, be inspired. I hope it inspires them to do something creative. And that's kind of a part of why it has, I want to do this whole concept with it too, and involve visual art along with the whole album, and then songs individually too, just because, I think that's it's an important thing, kind of going back to what you're saying, however many years from now, there's so many different kinds of creatives, when it's like there's there's people that are, on the apps and doing TikTok and Instagram, and like, and it's like, it's a different kind of art, right? But this was kind of I guess I want people to, pick up a guitar or write a song, or like draw something, or write a script or a storyline, or, not just that, but also just, or if it inspires them to get up and go for a run or go work out, like listen to Ready and get pumped up and go run a mile or try to, or, you know what I mean? Whatever, or just feel something. I just want it to move somebody in one way or the other, and just, do anything other than nothing.
Great answer. Answer.
Thanks.
That's a drop the mic right there. I love that. I love that answer. That's exactly what I was looking for as an answer.
Cool.
So I am going to go. We got about 10 minutes left, and I know that we have plenty of time, but I want to make sure that we're always conscientious of all of our artists' time.
Yeah.
But the big thing here is that, as for a wrap up, I feel that your music is very has so many different genres that it goes into. If you could go into each genre that you kind of feel represents this album, and then maybe people will kind of go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I know that we talked about blues rock, southern. What kind of genres what you were trying to channel?
Yeah.
And what is it that you were looking for with that?
It's definitely more than anything a rock record. It's got more rock than anything, but then it's, blues rock, it's got some southern rock, like you said, the Black Crowes, there's a couple songs like that on there. And then, as far as the country goes, it's definitely not anything like modern day commercial country. I'd say, if anything, if it's close to any kind of country, it would be either like outlaw or, traditional, more than it, certain, there's so many different genres or what of country and rock now, but definitely, hey, he's back.
No green screen.
Yeah, now,
but I'll take it.
Much more clear now.
That's weird. There you go. Can you hear us now?
I hear you.
Good.
Lordy.
Cool. Well, let's patch into James here. We'll extend, if it's okay with you, Dusty, because James is back and he has some. I know he has listened to this album and has some great questions. I'll go with.
Yeah, man.
I'm cutting over and let James completely take over for a bit here.
What up, James?
What up? Okay, so my dessert, obviously, banana bread pudding.
Oh God, that sounds so good and looks so good.
That's what was missed. So there you go.
Right on.
I scream with stuff in there too, but I'm not gonna fiddle with that. But I'll take that the way it is. It's fine.
That's so good. That's ridiculously good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No man, hey, killer album though. I've been enjoying the album for the whole last couple of days actually.
Cool.
So
Thank
really
you,
really
man.
good. I forget the song names. I haven't memorized the song names at all. So, but
That's okay.
I know in general it's a really good album. I think I've listened to it about twice overall at work and even today,
Cool.
getting ready for all this and in the car. On my way home from work and all that stuff. So, but yeah, really good. Love the artwork as well. The Vulture and the Fox.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I was gonna say like the meaning, I guess, behind the Vulture and the Fox is what I was trying to like go for. Why'd you pick the artwork for like the Vulture and the Fox?
So that was from a few years back when I was in Joshua Tree. One of my friends, we were out in the middle of the desert and camping and having a good time, and she was doing tarot card readings.
Okay.
And they were the spirit animal ones, and the ones that I got was a vulture and a fox, and the their meaning was, I can't remember all of them exactly, but it was a lot. The vulture was very misunderstood and needed because the vulture would clean up the rotten things that were just kind of wasting away or whatever, but it was also like get underappreciated as well. And the fox was somewhat similar, but it was kind of like the fox kind of laid low, didn't want to take a lot of the credit of what was happening, and like was also underappreciated for some of the things that were happening, and which that time in my life, and I'll just go in a little more detail when is that because we talked about this a little earlier, when she was reading these things, I was going through a lot of headache with my band at the time, and just other certain people, and just so at the time that she did this reading, it hit home. It was very, very just on the money, all these things that she was listing off of what they meant. And I was like, well, this is cool. And, and I'm not like a super spiritual dude, but it was definitely as close as it could have been, especially for that time. And so I was like, that's kind of the whole thing with this album is me just like getting through this whole story of pretty much my time in Los Angeles is what it's about, from the day I moved there to the day I left. So yeah,
it's got a lot of like richness to it. It's got like the darkness and depth to it. It's just, you definitely get like some of the emotion out of each song, even though one's like might be like a little bit faster than the other one, might be a little bit slower, but you kind of get all of kind of piece things together about what happened, or a story, kind of piece together a story. So like I said, it is really good.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I want to know what girl did this. The last song. That's what I want.
What's her number? What's my spirit animal?
Can't disclose. Talking about the ones and words don't match. That
one. There's a girl involved in that.
It's funny, it's really funny. Oh, for sure, it's really funny, and it's a true story. Like well, it's talking about it, touching base on something that really happened. I'm very surprised because I know that this person has listened to the song. Well, actually, I don't know that, but I'm almost positive that they have, and has not been like, oh, you mentioned me in this part of your song, and you kind of called me a whore because we've become friends since the breakup, like which is why I'm kind of surprised she hasn't brought it up. But not gonna say her name.
Maybe she's maybe she's just like, this song isn't about you. You're so vain. So maybe she's just not wanting to be vain and thinking that song's about her.
No. If she listened to it and heard that verse, she would know it's about her. Pretty sure. Because anyways, I don't know. One day we'll talk. One day me and her will discuss this. But
we're gonna bring her
anyways.
on.
Live terror ratings.
Hey, this song. There was a song on this album.
That's so funny.
That
just to
symbolizes
think about that.
you. What part of this album do you think it belongs to?
See
if she can guess.
That's so.
Your translation.
That's really funny.
I was like, I have had so much, and I think that when you identify with heartbreak, honestly, there's always a woman, to me, it's always when you really hear those songs. But I think all of us can identify with that if you've had heartbreak in your life.
Yeah.
For sure.
Whatever your person of choice is. But I know that for me, I've definitely had a bunch of that. So that's why music is so good and so deep and so feeling. And I could tell in that part, I was like, that's true. That has to be true.
Yeah.
Nobody, like, you don't just come up with that depth of feeling and be like, yeah, I kind of liked a girl once.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that definitely was almost all the majority of the album. There's a lot of things that they're based off of events that actually did happen to me. But that one's specific towards one person for sure.
This one person that will remain nameless.
Yeah.
But you know who you are.
Yeah, she should. But anyways.
But we're friends now, so we're gonna be cool.
We are. Everything's fine now, that's anyways.
All that matters.
Yeah.
So James, go ahead and ask some more questions, sir. We want to catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the songs you work with Brandon, right?
Brandon Bauman, yeah.
How was that?
How could we go wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. What song was that?
It's called "How Could We Go Wrong."
Okay,
so we wrote that one like 2019, March 2019 when he came out to visit for like a week and a half, and we wrote a few songs, and we're just hanging out out in my buddy Mark's place out in the country, and we're just playing guitar and sipping whiskey and writing songs all day. It was a good time, and that one was one I had the guitar riff for a while, and was like, hey, I don't really got much other than, I think it was just the first verse or the melody, some of the melody I had a little bit of or whatever. So it was barely there, and then so we got the other 90% done that day, and yeah, it's one of my favorite ones on the album. Definitely one of my favorite ones to play it. It's like one of those songs that certain songs, they actually like feel good physically to play, and whatnot, as guitar players will know. Like certain songs are just like fun, and like with the strumming patterns, or they're easy enough to where you don't got to think too much. You're just like, just in it easy. That's one of my favorite in that regard.
Would you say this was like one of the, like, I would say funnest, I guess, moments of creating an album, or one of the best ones, or
with that song?
Yeah, or with the album itself.
Yeah, it was a great time. It was how long did
it take to create the whole album, like start to finish?
It was over the course of like a year and change, but that was very spread out trips to the studio. Like it was, all in all, I'd say, like, as far as like how much full on time was put into it, it was probably like 3 months as far as the amount of time that like got spent on going there to record. And then because we only did, as far as tracking, that was probably like 12 to 15 at most days. But that, and some of that was mixing, but then it was like, getting things, you know, other that was me and me tracking the songs with the producer, not, and then but we'd have other people come in and do certain things when I wasn't there, like they would do things remotely, record things remotely from their studio, and but yeah, I mean, it all took about, I'd say, close to a year to really get to get finalized after it was all mixed and mastered and everybody was just like, okay, nothing needs anything else. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where'd you record? Where'd you record it at?
So Recording Studios, Nashville, Tennessee. It's a great place. Yeah. Really cool vibes. It's very like kind of feel like you walk into a different era. It's very, very kind of 70s feel to it. It's cool.
Especially being in Nashville. Nashville seems to be like a pretty chill place. Like it's pretty relaxing and just mellow. We can kind of just be at peace and quiet.
Unless you go to Broadway. If you go to Broadway, you're going to be dealing with a bunch of loud drunks and bachelorettes that are riding around on buses, dancing, having a good time.
Why is that? Now that's like the third person that said that it's like a place for bachelorettes to have their bachelorette party. I thought Vegas was that, but Nashville.
I'm pretty sure it's even more of a popular bachelorette destination now. I could be wrong, but I mean, I remember I've been to Vegas, you know, I'd say half a dozen times, and I don't ever remember seeing the entire out of all the times I've gone there. I would say I saw less bachelorette parties than I will see one time going to downtown Nashville. If you go downtown Nashville on a Saturday or Friday night or Saturday or Sunday, you will probably see 10 different bachelorette parties at least. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like it's wild, but I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of music, obviously. Like if you just want to go and listen to music, and there's great places to eat. It's a fun, and you know, there's a lot of stuff to do there. It's, you know, there's a lot of fun to be had. So I guess it makes sense as far as that goes. But yeah, it's pretty wild, weird.
So Dusty, this is the question. Have you ever played for a bachelorette party?
No. I've played weddings, but not at a bachelorette.
Yeah, I would not think that'd be interesting. That would be
interesting. But I have a friend that did once for his sister's work friend. She had a bachelorette party in the salon they worked at, and per her request, she wanted Luke to sing her. She made a joke about, this is my buddy Luke, singing her a song in his underwear. So he stripped down to like Speedo briefs underwear, wore a cowboy hat and cowboy boots, and like strutted into this salon in front of all these women that sang a song for this girl. And I was like, that's some courage.
There you go.
That's ballsy.
Or that's very ballsy. Very.
You got the confidence. I mean, you got the confidence right
there. Yeah. Oh my God. Good old Luke Powers. Shout out Luke Powers.
Right on. Go ahead, James. I know you have some more. What do we got? We have to go pretty soon here, though. But I want to make sure that you answer.
Yeah, I don't want to keep it too long. Any any touring? I guess any touring planning on happening or?
Not as of yet. I have a few out of town dates booked throughout the next couple months, but not like not really a tour. You know, they're just kind of like gigs here and there throughout next couple months. But I want to. That's kind of the primary goal. I did just buy a motorhome. That was my year in goal last year, to get a motorhome, and I got one for that exact reason, because I want to get on the road.
So, you ever done like online shows? I mean, I've seen bands do like that. Like a few bands do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do too many of those though. Like I've done them before, and it's just like you're not in front of people, you know. And like, I mean, You are,
but you're
but you're
not.
not. You're not with them, and that to me is like the
Yeah.
whole point. You know that's legitimately the whole reason I kind of want to like not kind of like the whole reason I really got into doing this and what I want to do is just travel and play my music for people and like and also just kind of trade that energy. It's just there's something special about it when like being on stage and there's people that are like feeling what
Yeah, it's
you're
more of a face to
putting out
face
there.
and
Totally, yeah.
interaction
And
kind of.
you can't. It's very. It's just no. It's 10% of the enjoyment doing it like
Well,
an
it's
online
like a pure.
streaming.
There's a purity and then there's an artificiality to it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? So it's
yeah,
like I get both.
yeah. So no, that's something I would really really love. That's the plan. Is getting on a tour. So ideally would be a support slot for like a bigger artist so I could get out in front of somebody else's fans like Gary Clark Jr. or the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, there you go.
Dave Grohl, if you're listening, take me on tour. Oh
We've had
man.
some really fun guys that have toured with some of those big names, and you're like, that's crazy how cool that is. That must be
Yeah,
just a completely different cool world. I can't imagine.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do the last. So we do a top 5. So a really quick 5.
Sure.
And so I go with my gearhead questions, and he always goes with the best last question. So,
Okay.
so top 5. And so these are a quick 5. And 5th favorite guitar you've ever played?
5th favorite guitar I've ever played.
No, just your 5th, number 5 favorite guitar you've ever played.
It is the David Gilmour Relic Stratocaster.
Ooh, Stratocaster.
Nice.
Nice.
The David Gilmour one, not just any Stratocaster.
David Gilmour.
David Gilmour, Pink Floyd.
Signature,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Which everybody knows he's an amazing Stratocaster player. So yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Number 4. Favorite amp.
It was a modded Marshall JMP that this guy I was my old band did a record with. His name's Ross Hogarth. This amazing engineer. He had just the most badass selection of amps and pedals, like insane stuff. But he had this modded Marshall JMP it was just the most nuclear tone. It was something special. I've never played through something like it. There might be others out. Actually, no, there probably isn't even another one out there like this one because he had it modded by some amp tech that works for all the big rock stars and stuff. And it was great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Favorite chord progression.
1-4-5. The easy one.
The easy one.
I don't really know any other ones. Not that I actually like. I don't. That's the thing is I don't. Man, there's probably so much that you could throw at me as far as like music theory questions where I am just not inclined at all. Like I know I can read guitar tabs and I can like tell what key I'm in. And I know chords, but as far as progressions and all that go, like I'm quite remedial and not really like, all that great with it. So
That's the reason why I ask it, actually, because it doesn't mean not necessarily do you have to have theory to understand how to play good music, and that was my point. That's my points with all of that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. No,
that's always
you really don't.
No, and and it's great to have theory. I've started learning theory, and it's really fun. But you don't have to be a theory nerd to be able to produce good music, and that's my point with that question every time. People don't usually normally some people have music theory, so they're like immediately like they label something off. But this one is exactly what I want people to hear: is that you don't have to have it to make great music. You don't have to.
No.
So number 2, and this is the last one before James asks his amazing question.
Mhm.
Number 2 would be what do you feel where do you feel the most close to music wise when you go to LA, Nashville, or your hometown? Where are you feeling like you can produce the best music?
Nashville, hands down. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah.
Los Angeles, I had personally more like I had more musician friends and like more bands and knew more artists, I guess, out there. But I also lived there for 10 years. But in Nashville, there's there's so many great players and songwriters, and it's just they actually are, you know, Los Angeles is way more of a movie and film and TV town than it is a record town now. Nashville is a music town through and through. No way around it.
And number 1, drum roll, James.
Drum roll. So yeah, number 1. I said with the album being done, stuff like that, and kind of getting it out there, and getting it, released out there. What's like one thing? Is there something that maybe you haven't done for a while that you would like to go out and do? Like whether it be hobby wise or whatever. Because I know you guys spent a lot of time creating the album. Is there something like whatever that you would like to get out and do? I know. Plus, we have the pandemic and stuff, so I mean, it's not like you probably do a lot of stuff. But what's like one kind of guilty pleasure that you would kind of like to get out there and do, and like maybe something you haven't done?
Something other than music. Something other than like you're saying something other than music.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I mean, I love just being outside, whether it's hiking or like fishing, like like doing something like peaceful and quiet, like away from people, and or just not. I shouldn't say people, just away from just more in nature, so. And that's another thing with the motorhome, like why I wanted to get that is so I can just take trips with my dog. If I wanted to go to the beach and live there for a month or so, then I can do that. But I also love to cook. Bearded metal chef, I love cooking. And yeah, so that's something that like that if there's one thing I think that sets my mind at ease, other than running. I love to run, but I can't do that every day. There's one thing that's like, and obviously music, playing guitar, and singing and writing and whatnot. But it's
Right.
away from that. Like, if there's one thing I could pick to like dive into, it would be the culinary arts, or maybe not the arts, but just cooking.
Yeah.
Just cooking and listen to music. Like, that's one of my favorite things in the world to do, is legitimately like either making breakfast or dinner while I like, hey Alexa, put on Jimi Hendrix radio, and then I like listening to big band radio actually when I make breakfast. Big band radio is good in the morning. But yeah, travel and cooking.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. You got your top 5 cool things that we've asked Dusty. Yeah, that's the reason why I tell him he's the top one, because he just asked the best questions. It's like the drop. 5. Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is all, everybody. We've been on the what a great album. Go check out.
Thank you, man.
Go check out The Vulture and the Fox, Dusty Bow. He is on Spotify. I prefer to route you to Spotify because he gets some money. He gets some money from this. So, and then also you have a place where you can donate if you want to fund for him. So go Spotify, go listen to this album and enjoy it. He will, and if I'm not mistaken, you actually have some videos that kind of go along with some of this too.
Yeah, only one of them's out right now. And they, they'll be, it's all work in progress. But yeah, that'll don't wait on the videos. Go listen to the songs first.
Yeah, do that.
For sure. You will absolutely enjoy the artwork. The album artwork is amazing, and the songs are just, and it's not one of it, every song is different. And that's what I really love about this album, is that there's a different flavor with every single song. And I would love for you to come back here, comment on this, and say what you really loved about this album, and so that we can get that feedback going, because I picked out so many different pieces. I want to hear what you all picked out in this album as
Absolutely.
well. And it's always great for the artist to hear feedback and see what their take on things were, because definitely everybody has their own purview. And so I'm excited to hear what people have to say about it. Dusty, thank you, buddy. Any last words?
Thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, you bet, man. And James, again, happy New Year, buddy. It's good. We're
Happy
gonna
New
be
Year.
kicking. We're gonna kick some major butt this year. We're gonna have fun. And Dusty is just gonna kick off this. He kicked off the party today, so
There you
we
go.
will be sitting with you all next week and enjoying the ride. Everybody, stay tasty.
Stay tasty, baby.
Stay
All right, I'll
safe.
see you guys.
See ya.